Hello guys, welcome to Vision Panorama. Welcome to the season's finale. Yes, this is the last episode of season 1. It's been one heck of a journey and I want to thank you for being with me throughout this journey this far. Today's episode, have you ever been in a situation where you have to denounce your identity or reject who you are, where you come from, in order to have access to certain opportunities and escape discrimination and unfair treatment? Have you ever been in such situation? Aryna Sabalenka, the number 1 female tennis player in the world from Belarus, in an interview was asked a question about the possibility of her switching her nationality. And this was her answer. But before I go into her answer, let me give you the context behind this question. The question was asked in the context of the Russian-Ukraine war. And as you all probably know, in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. And Aryna Sabalenka is from Belarus, and Belarus as a country is an ally of Russia. So basically, Belarus and Russia, or the Belarusian government and Russia, were fighting this war together against Ukraine. And so because of the Russian government invading Ukraine and the government of Belarus supporting Russia in this invasion, it has led to both countries having a very bad image, especially in the Western world. And this bad image has also affected the individual athletes as well. They've lost opportunities. Some have even lost all kinds of sponsorship deals. So about 9 people from both Belarus and Russia have changed their nationalities due to the war. And so it was against this backdrop that the interviewer asked Aryna Sabalenka if she also has thought of the possibility of changing her nationality. And this was her answer. I read, "Listen, I have always been really proud to represent such a small country like Belarus. I am an inspiration to the young kids there. So I would like to represent Belarus just for the kids in that country to see me competing on a high level and get inspired by me, and hopefully by my example I will show them that if I am able to make it from that country, from that little country in the world, make it all the way to the top, I want them to think that they also can do it. I don't want to betray those children." That was her answer, and I found that answer to be very brilliant because she expressed her pride in her roots and her desire to be a role model for the young people that will be looking up to her. With everything going on, with all the pressures she is getting from all angles, she could have just ditched her nationality and just switched to a different nationality, but she decided to hold on to her nationality, be proud of her country, and in so doing inspire the young people in her country who, through what she is doing, will also pick up a tennis racket and believe that they too can become amazing tennis players. So for me, this is amazing. And of course, for the athletes that switched their nationalities, looking at it from a rational point of view, you can understand it because you are focused on your own career, you are focused on your personal ambitions and the opportunities you might have. And if the nationality you currently hold impedes you or restrains you from having certain opportunities that will enhance your career, then rationally it makes sense to, ditch your nationality or switch to a different nationality. But Aryna Sabalenka looked beyond herself, beyond her personal ambition, personal goals, personal image, just to inspire a whole generation of young people from Belarus that through her will also pick up a tennis racket and like to play in that sport. That's very intriguing. And it's not an easy choice to make because, like I said, these athletes, they lose their sponsorship deals because what happens in such circumstances is that the people that are sponsoring you, they will tell you that because of the country you represent and the image that your country has, they can no longer work with you. So you will lose your sponsorship deals, you will lose opportunities that you normally have, you will lose access to so many things that you had, even certain tournaments you will not be allowed to participate in. So with all of these things put together, there is so much pressure to switch your nationality Me being a Ghanaian and a Belgian, and I'm proud of both nationalities, let's say the Prime Minister of Belgium today, Bart de Wever, decides to invade another country, drops all kinds of bombs and missiles on that country to the extent that millions of the civilian population lose their lives, and as a consequence, Belgium becomes one of the most hated countries in the world, making Belgians have a bad image all over the world, making Belgians lose access to certain opportunities, making Belgians being subjected to all kinds of attacks, discriminatory treatment, and so on and so forth. Will I think of the possibility of changing my nationality to a different one? I don't think I would do so, because at the end of the day, a country is so much more than its government and the policies of its government. So if the government decides to pursue certain policies or act in certain ways, that doesn't mean that the citizens have to hate their country, because a country is so much more than what the government is doing. So a while back, I went to the European Parliament with a colleague of mine. We were advocating for something, a policy change in an area, and for that purpose, we've been able to secure a couple of appointments with some members of the European Parliament. And this colleague of mine is a Russian national. He has been in Belgium for years. He studied here, attained his master's degree here, and is even working in Belgium. So we went into the Parliament, and for those of you that have been to the European Parliament before, you know that the security check is very tight. They have to make sure that everybody coming in the Parliament is not a threat or does not carry anything that can be used to cause harm. So they took my ID. I went through the normal security check procedure, and it did not even take more than 3 minutes. And so I was given clearance to go, and then it came to my colleague. As soon as they took his ID and they saw that he is a Russian national, they began to ask him extra questions. They invited extra security personnel to where he was, did extra search. They were basically interrogating the guy just because he is a Russian national. And so with all the questioning and interrogations, it took about 15 minutes for them to give him clearance to proceed. And perhaps from the perspective of the security personnel, you could understand where they are coming from, because he is a Russian national and Russia is basically at war with Europe, and as far as they are concerned, he could be a spy or something. So those extra checks and the interrogations was not really from a discriminatory perspective. But yet it doesn't take away the fact that because of the nationality a person carries, he is subjected to all kinds of checks and unfair treatment, even though he or she has done nothing wrong. And it's very sad to see people being treated unfairly because of the nationality they carry or because of the kind of activities that their government are involved in, even though they as citizens or individuals have nothing to do with what their governments are doing. We have to make a distinction between a government and its citizens. Like I already said, we cannot reduce an entire country to their government. A country is so much bigger than its government. Just go on the street right now and ask random people why they love their country so much or why they are proud of their country. You will not find people saying, "Oh, I love my country because the president is so amazing, the prime minister is so good, the minister of finance is amazing, the minister of agriculture is excellent, the minister of pension is extraordinary, or the minister of transportation is this and that." You will not find people saying that. When you ask people why they love their country so much, the things they will mention is that they love the people of their country, that they love their culture, that they love their tradition, their language, their music, the historic sites in their country. These are things that people will say makes them love their country, and not necessarily who the government is and what the government is doing. If the government is pursuing evil policies and they are committing all kinds of crimes and atrocities, of course there will always be people that support the actions of their government, but the majority of the citizens will either not care or will not be in favor of it. We really need to make a clear separation between the two, because people are being treated unfairly just because of the nationality they carry, and that is because of some of the things that their governments are doing or their governments are involved in. Guys, this was it for for today's episode and also the last episode of season 1. I would like for you to let me know what you think of today's episode in the comment section. Like, subscribe, engage, share, and also do rewatch all the episodes from season 1 and let me know which one is your favorite and why. Thank you so much for being part of this journey so far. We will definitely see each other in season 2. Take care. Bye bye.